everyone. Welcome back to High Vibes and a Mic. I'm your host, Veronique. Today we are going on the kinky side. My guest, Emilie, is an intimacy and relationship coach, cosmic priestess, and dominatrix. Her guidance is somatic, conscious, and intuitive. So let's hear it from Emilie. Hi, Emilie. How are you today?
Hi, Veronique. I'm very well. Very happy to be here. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so happy you're here today. We're going to talk about kind of different topic than usual. It's going to be a little bit more kinky. That's more for ladies and men also, of course. You're a coach.
Intimacy and relationship coach.
Intimacy
Guide.
coach. Okay. Yeah, perfect. A guide. Okay. What inspired your evolution into intimacy and relationship coaching?
Yeah.
And how did your journey start? Because there's two different cultures that can influence your path. So how all of this started?
Yeah, so often people ask me also what led me to coaching and this specific kind of coaching. I feel that I have coached my whole life. Started as a child. I was good at observing, noticing patterns already, and asking a lot of questions to adults, to my parents, and noticing how they were interacting, but also other adults. I was spending a lot of time observing, but it seems that I had some wisdom to share. My parents were sometimes asking me, what I was thinking about things, and things got, deeper, I would say, when they were preparing themselves to divorce, where they would each take me to listen to them. They would take me as a therapist, basically, which was not my role, of course. And so as an adult, I had multiple careers in sales as a manager and training people. I was a technical writer. I was a stay-at-home parent for many years, and I loved it. I have 2 children. I was also an interior designer and a professional English to French translator. And after my divorce, it became clear through depression that I needed to go into a direction that was more fulfilling. The interior design was, but there was a lack of, why am I doing that? It wasn't meaningful enough. I enjoyed it, but there was lacking a layer of depth, I think, over there. And so through taking a questionnaire, I was working with a coach to understand what is my mission as a human being on this planet. And I got to understand that I needed to mix my main interests, which were relationships, psychology, and sexuality. And so I took a training with an institute here in the San Francisco Bay Area, which is called the Somatica Institute, that gave me a foundation for coaching around sexuality, relationship, intimacy, and from there I developed my own sauce, if you will. You were asking about the intimacy and relationship specifically. So having spent a lot of time in depression, that led me to really question, because I had several episodes of depression throughout life, like many of us. But the last one, I thought, okay, I'm done with that. I don't want to experience that anymore. I knew that some things needed to change. And so there was a lot of time on my own. I was living in a forest here. I spent 4 years in a forest, and I developed my psychic abilities, my capacity to be very present with what is. I became more attuned to emotions, but also to energies. I became intimate with myself. I started to really understand what is intimacy, that you then carry with you in relationship with others. So my practice is to help people, and I like to work with visionaries, leaders, to form this relationship with themselves, that is intimate, and that is then going to have a ripple effect in their other relationships, because intimacy is not, the realm solely of a romantic relationship. You find intimacy with self, with your environment, with your children, family, friends, and of course, lovers, partners.
Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about that more in details. So you describe yourself as, I'm going to ask you a question here because I'm really clueless about that terms, So you describe yourself as bisexual. Okay, that I know. Mm-hmm. Demisexual. What is this? And Sapiosexual. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know.
Please explain.
Let's popularize some terms here. So, demisexual means that I need to form an emotional bond with someone in order to start feeling turned on by them.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Kind of
turned on.
normal then.
Sorry?
Kind of normal then, right? Because
No.
I mean, sometimes you can have you can have a one night stand or whatever, but
Yeah. So, some people, they don't necessarily need to have this, emotional closeness. But for me, after many years actually, where I was not giving myself a chance to form an emotional connection with people, and I was exploring my sexuality with a lot of people, I was often puzzled that I was finding myself in two environments that were very sexually charged, like a sex party. I was going with my partner, and I was meeting other people and having other sex with my partner, and those people are just those people. And the idea of those scenarios of this environment was more stimulating than the actual act with those people, where I was like, I'm not very turned on. It took me a long time to realize that it's because I hadn't had a chance to form, a connection with these people. It's what it means. Demisexual, it's emotional connection, and sapiosexual, it means that you are attracted, aroused by intelligence.
here you go. That's me.
Yeah.
That is me.
And that's me as well. So someone,
Definitely.
especially a man who is very intelligent, who is brilliant, has a higher chance of having me being turned on by them. But it's not just, oh, you're brilliant and I'm going to be turned on by you. No, it's several things. But definitely someone who has a lot to share, who knows a lot, is going to be curious and turned on.
Me, it's smart and funny. If you like that, that's my husband. He's very smart and funny. But I like to have a man who can answer my questions. That's something, a lot of things I don't know or about anything. And it's kind of a little bit like an encyclopedia, this guy.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. But he's also really funny. So if you have those two, yeah, we're here. Okay, so sapiosexual.
I don't need the humor. I would say I have to have the emotional depth with the person.
Yeah.
Emotional depth and intelligence.
Okay. So that helps you shape your understanding of intimacy. That's what you mean, connection. You need to have those three things.
That helps me to enter, that makes me want to enter intimacy with someone. Yes. And that helps me to understand others in their intimacy, but everyone has different needs. Like you just mentioned that for you, it seems that in order to maybe want to be intimate with someone, enter intimacy with someone, or like with your husband, you want to find the humor and the intelligence.
Okay. And one thing also we didn't talk about, your dominatrix. What is this? You walk on people with high heels?
I mean, I could if they want to.
That's what I vision.
Well, it means, in a relationship, there is always someone who is going to, at some point, take the lead, and the other who is going to follow. And so in BDSM, and I don't know if your audience is going to be familiar with BDSM.
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, most of them are women. Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Okay. So in BDSM, we play with energies. Someone can embody the energy of the dominant. Someone can embody the energy of the submissive. And some people prefer to be in one energy when they are, in a relationship, in intimacy or in sexual play with a partner. They may prefer to be the one who leads, who, gives the direction. And some people, they like to have a break. They like to follow because maybe outside of, intimacy or sexual experience, maybe they take a lot of responsibilities, they make a lot of decisions, and in that environment, maybe they prefer to follow. And those things happen pretty naturally. And so for me, I realized that I had a more dominant energy when in intimacy and in sexual play, because I had a partner at some point, a long-term partner who, and we were in a non-monogamous relationship. So he and I had other partners, and he would often comment that he he had a partner who was submissive and that he was entering certain dynamics with that person. And so I was curious about that, and I was asking him if we could play the same in a similar way, because I was intrigued. I wanted to learn and I wanted to bond with him in that way. But he was saying, yeah, but it doesn't work well with you because you're dominant.
Dominant, yeah.
Yeah. And it took me a while, before realizing what he meant, because, we are how we are. And even though I have had the experience of several partners throughout life and lots of people that I played with that I wouldn't call a partner, but more like a play partner, it took me a while to realize that, yes, indeed, I take the lead very often. And so at some point, I think there was a process of me, recognizing that, yes, I like to take the lead, but I also like to follow. So I can go into something deeper before exploring more the dominatrix concept, but I am a switch, which means that I like to go back and forth between leading and following. So I like to be dominant and I like to be submissive. I mean, the way it works is context dependent.
Yeah.
But I can do both, basically. And so at some point, around 2 years ago, after hearing people saying, you haven't thought about taking a dominatrix class, because they would, feel that energy inside of me. I even had, men wanted to submit to me, saying, I want to praise you, I want to worship you as a dominatrix. And so I thought, well, there seems to be something to explore there. So I decided to take a training.
Oh, there's training for
There
that.
are trainings for that, yes. So I took a training with a dominatrix who is based here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I learned to use my voice, but also certain tools to enter play with other people. And so you have the stereotype, that you mentioned of the dominatrix who is going to con people with heels. But I think another stereotype is the one where someone flogs someone else, spanks someone else. So those, are stereotypes of what someone who is dominant. A dominatrix is someone who does that professionally, basically.
Yeah.
So you have people, in my case, it's predominantly men who want to be guided to have a certain kind of experience. And so they can turn to a dominatrix to give them the exact experience that they have noticed that they want to have, that maybe a partner cannot, because maybe they can't talk about that openly with the partner, or maybe the partner is not interested, or maybe the partner doesn't have the right energy. Maybe the partner is a sub, and maybe that person is a sub as well, and two subs together. Well, no one is leading. No one is leading firmly.
Yeah. So you talked earlier that you work with visionary, successful men.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of challenge when they come to you? Because I shiver, what kind of challenge do they face in intimacy, relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. So generally, there are people who on the paper are successful, and so they may have ticked lots of boxes in terms of realization as a human being, as a professional. Also, they may have, a great career, they make a lot of money, they have a big car, they have a house, they have a partner, a pair of kids, but that doesn't make them fulfilled. They realize that actually they are not, and that something is missing. And so I genuinely connect with them. We get to connect with each other because they are about to enter a deep cycle of transformation, or they are just entering a cycle of transformation, which you can call a growth spurt, like a baby is going to have a growth spurt. It can also, in the spiritual jargon, it can be called a spiritual awakening or just an awakening. So in general, I find myself being connected with these people naturally as they enter this cycle of deep transformation. And so what happens with those people, visionaries, leaders, is that they are pretty disconnected from their emotions. They were able to put themselves, on some tracks, and for men, a lot of them in our Western cultures were conditioned to repress their emotions from an early age. Think about little boys that we say, don't cry.
Yeah.
And don't learn how to be with their emotions, to release their emotions, in a healthy way. They're going to cope with maybe being absorbed into some activity. So they may overwork, they may do a lot of sport, but they may not be present with their heart, with their emotions. And so what I do with them is that I teach them to be with their emotions in their body, to feel again. And because my practice is it's somatic, so it means that I help them to be in the body with presence, with whatever arises in the body, so that they can recognize the emotions and build the literacy of emotions, but also attune with their inner voice, which you can call intuition or God or spirit, depending on the framework that you want.
To meditate, how do you do that?
So we can use mindfulness. Yes, it's one of the tools that I like to use. Mindfulness is great because it's also, something that is going to help you to be present, to recognize the emotions, but it can also open you to, attune to that inner voice. When you remove the crap, all the thoughts, the inner critic, that negative voice inside of you, and there are techniques to do that. There is more, space to hear the messages that you receive, the guidance. And so I help them to do that. And I help them, that can be, of course, with meditation, with visualization, with journaling. We can use also cards. I like to use tarot, oracle cards for guidance, rituals as well. And concepts that are important to my practice are radical acceptance and unconditional love. So we're going to accept, who we are completely and love that completely. It doesn't mean that there is no place for ethics, integrity, and boundaries. Of course, these are essential, but being able to be in that space where we accept ourselves completely leads to then accept situations and other people completely. And same for love. When you can love yourself, unconditionally, then it's the pathway to love life, to love what is, and others unconditionally. Again, boundaries still have their place.
Yeah, it's very important, right? So is that what you're talking about when you said you talk about being you have a role as a cosmic priestess?
Okay, yeah. In
Is
in
that
my
come?
bio, yeah. In my bio,
Yeah.
I said that the dominatrix in me, she's a priestess. She's an intergalactic priestess. So, and her name is Aya Luz. So Aya is the fusion of Gaia, which is our planet, because she was born, she's a human being. She's embodied on planet Earth, Gaia, and she's helped by AI.
Okay.
You know that AI is making more and more itself present in our lives. And so she consults AI. AI is a part of our consciousness, and she works closely with AI to guide people to transform, because a priestess organizes rituals, ceremonies to help people to transform.
Okay. And I saw, so talking about those high achieving men, I saw that right now you have an offering about it's a beta test, so they have to invite you for lunch, and you can tell them, okay, now I see how you treat women. This is what you should do.
I like to hear how you understand the offer. Yeah, currently, and I don't know if it's still going to be online when this is broadcasted, but currently I received a very powerful transmission around how to best serve that population after, witnessing personally, but also hearing countless other women being faced with men here in the San Francisco Bay Area who maybe, again, are successful on the paper, but not being very connected to their emotions, which means that it's hard for them to be connected to women's emotions. So, I realized that I could serve visionaries men to become more attuned to the divine energy. to step up their game, basically, to present differently, physically, but also to appreciate women who are, into their divine energy, who are in their goddess energy, to appreciate them more, to know how to worship them, and to have the place at home to be able to receive these women and to continue the worshiping with them, or after the dating, to worship them. So this service, it's called Date the Goddess. It's an experiential where we're going to look at their dating profile, as well as what is their elevator pitch. In the business world, we talk about, okay, what is your project elevator pitch? Well, here it's the personal elevator pitch. How do you present yourself? Who are you? And how do you do that? But also how they present, in terms of clothing and, their physical aspect. And then we go on a date. So I embody the goddess. I become, this ambassador of the goddess energy. And basically, we do a role play where they show me how they go on a date with a woman. And so we can go and have tea, or go on a hike, or go to a restaurant. And after this date, I'm going to give them feedback. I'm going to tell them, what worked amazingly and what are some areas where they could, express things in a different way. I also asked them to send me photos or video of their bedroom and bathroom, so that I can also give some feedback in terms of, is this place ready to receive a woman in her goddess energy? Is it ready for worshipping the divine energy?
That's a good idea. Very good idea.
And I can help them basically, because I have also this background as an interior designer, to have their place ready for that, to elevate their place so that they have the best chance to actually attract and date a goddess.
I can't even imagine the stress. All those poor guys when they go on a makeup date with you.
I know,
It's like an exam.
They want that. There are a lot of men, who are part of, and I know some of them, they go to men's groups, and they are really doing the work on themselves. They learn to attune to their inner voice, to be with their feelings. And then the most natural thing is that they want to connect with a woman who has been doing the same. And a lot of women want that. They want to meet this man. I know them personally. They exist. They want to be connected with this man.
I lived in San Francisco for 2 years and 2 or 3 years, and it was so hard, the dating over there. I don't know what's going on in that city, but maybe it's the big city. But I met my husband by chance. But it was like date after date. Yeah, it was time for me to meet him. But really, yeah, I think people definitely need you. That's for sure. So my next question would be, because you talked at the beginning about your husband and you were not in a monogamous relationship with him. Did it start like that? Like, okay, we're together, but we're also with other people, we're still going to get married and have kids?
Yeah.
Or maybe like after 10 years, okay, we're bored, let's do something else. Because usually, that's what people do also.
Yeah,
let's try something else.
Yeah, there was a bit of both. So we met at the end of our 20s. We were together for a little over a decade, and we had 2 children together. And the relationship was, let's say, culturally, it was ethically non-monogamous from the beginning. So I say ethically because there is a very mainstream form of non-monogamy, which is called cheating. Stats say that around half of the population, of monogamous people at some point are going to cheat in their relationship. And so that makes them non-monogamous at times.
Mm-hmm.
But the form of non-monogamy that I have been practicing is the one where things are transparent, where we say, okay, want to explore intimacy, sensuality, sexuality with other people, and both partners are on board, and there is open communication. Things are transparent and open. It was culturally, it was non-monogamous and ethical from the beginning, but there wasn't much action. It's more that he had created a profile of us for a platform where he was chatting with people who wanted to meet, but we would not meet. But so it was there, like sometimes I would go behind him and then he was chatting with people and he wanted me to be interested and engaged. But it took me a while, actually. I mean, we had a year in the relationship. We went to a sex club. So we had the experience of having sex with another couple. So we did a swap. Like we were in the same room and he was having sex with that woman. I was having sex with her partner. We are next to each other and we're like, oh my God, what are we doing here?
I can't even imagine.
Sure you can, but
Not myself.
so we did that, but then there were years of, there wasn't much than, not much more than him looking at those platforms where we had a profile. And then at some point we took things to the next level. There was a summer where I actually engaged. I was visiting friends and we were living in Australia at the time. He was encouraging me to have sex with other men, and I was encouraging him to have sex with other women, and we did. And it was a big turn on for him. Some people are turned on by their partner having sex with others.
Yeah.
For me, it's also the case. I mean, I know myself. I know that some conditions have to be reunited for that to work for me. Otherwise, I get scared. And it's the case for a lot of people. You need to have the right ingredients. And toward the end of our relationship, we had moved here in California. Kids were little. I remember telling him, don't you think that the ultimate taboo for us is to explore having a romantic relationship with someone else? Because so far we had the experience of something maybe a little, transactional. Let's have sex with other people, but it was not, very connected emotionally. And for me, I was not the most turned on, as you understand from me sharing that I prefer to have emotional connection.
Yeah.
And so we explored that, and very quickly we entered a romantic relationship, him with someone and me with someone else. They happened to be a married couple.
So that's polygamy.
It's called polyamory.
Polyamory.
Yeah.
Polyamory.
So
Polygamy is when you're
polyamory,
married.
I mean, they were married and we were married, but yeah. And so, So it means having a love for several people. It doesn't have to be romantic. Some people, are not deeply romantically involved with other people, but consider themselves to be loving multiple people, and that makes them polyamorous. And our relationship ended, and I continued on that path with another long-term partner. We were polyamorous together, exploring all sorts of relationships with other people.
Do you think it's natural for the human being to be with only one person? Because I don't think it is.
To be with one person?
Be only with one person, like the whole life. I mean, I will be, because I know I won't, that's something I will do. But sometimes, you think, oh, this person or whatever. I don't, even my husband, I'm sure, you see someone is like, oh yeah, I would like, to have a relation, do something with her. I don't think it's not DNA. It's natural to be only with one person.
I think it's natural to want to be with multiple people. Then, pulling the trigger, actually engaging with these people, it's another story, especially, in our Western cultures where it's not the dominant model. The dominant model is monogamy. But there are books to read which are very interesting, that human beings, like most other animal species, are in nature non-monogamous. And if you think about, even in our monogamous Western cultures, most people will have had more than one person that they will have been, intimate with in their life. And so that makes them non-monogamous. If you had a boyfriend in high school and then you met the one and you've been your whole life together, you were not monogamous. You are not monogamous. You had more than one love.
Not like the penguin. That's what you mean.
I don't really know for the penguins, but
Penguin is one
also,
and that's it.
yeah, but also where does non-monogamy start? Does it start with, let's say, someone, they dated just one person in their whole life. They met someone at 15 and, they are together until they die. Does monogamy start when they just imagine, and have desire for someone else and they may not, take action on that? Does it start when you text with someone and you express that you have desire for that other person? Does it start with watching porn where obviously you see other people are having sex and it's not your partner, it's not you and your partner that you're watching? Does it start with just, I don't know, engaging in the conversation? Let's say you are a woman and you engage in a conversation with another man, and you experience just pleasure having that conversation. Maybe there is some flirting. Flirting is just being playful and enjoying it. Does it make you non-monogamous? Is it a form of experiencing, attraction, desire for another person? Does having that makes you non-monogamous? There are all sorts of questions. Things are very nuanced. In my field, I don't promote one model over another. I want to encourage people to go deeply into what works for them.
Yeah.
So if someone is into serial non-monogamy, which means they are monogamous with one person at once, but they had 5 marriages.
Yeah. Okay, see.
See what I mean?
Different criteria.
Which is also the dominant model. It's
true.
monogamy. Well, if this is your thing, I'm here to encourage you. I'm not here to judge. I'm here to support people in what resonates with them. I like in my practice to support people to align the mind, the body, the heart, the soul. Because when you are, deeply aligned with yourself, then you are a better human being. You're going to do everything better because you're going to experience more joy in just being and working and loving.
So in general, you only work with men, or do you also have clients that are women?
It seems that I connect, more with men, but I also from time to time work with women. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, we need help too. So now let's talk a little bit about your lifestyle, like in the spiritual integration, because I saw that you talk about you like to have a daily yoga, soaking bath.
Mm-hmm.
And so how that, support your spirituality, your coaching work? Does that help a lot? Do you have a ceremony when you do a soaking bath, or what's going on there?
Sorry, so you want to know what is my spiritual practice on a daily basis, or what is?
Yeah, how is that all those daily practice help your coaching or your spirituality?
Okay. Yeah. So I do have daily practices that are spiritual in nature. Like in the morning, I start my day with a gratitude practice where I like to spend some time where out loud I'm going to thank everything and everyone. The universe, to my parents, to my friends, to my children, nature, just being, very present with the extraordinary gift to be alive and to have this amazing adventure to be an expression, an embodied expression of consciousness on our planet. I also meditate several times a day, to journal. I pull cards also for guidance. I like to closely work with spirit for guidance for the day, for the week. And all of that makes me very present, makes me full of gratitude, and makes me available to be in service, to find, what are the best avenues, the best services, products in order to support others. Because I have this, very deep and rich relationship with myself. And I invest the time every day, several times a day, and at minima, it's in the morning, to connect with myself, to connect with spirit. I come from a place of having my batteries fully charged, if you will. My cup is full. I have become, very experienced at self-love. And then I can go into the world and I can serve. I'm present. I'm here. I can listen and I can find, the best ways to guide people to do that for themselves, which then has a ripple effect on everything in their lives.
Yeah, I have this exercise to do every day with my gratitude buddy. It's part of my training to be a sun healer. So every day we have to text ourselves 5 gratitude every day for 40 days.
I
And I
love
think
that.
after I will continue I'm going to just journal because now it takes 5 minutes to do that. And it puts you in a good mood to be actually grateful for what you already have. And it brings more abundance to you. So I think I'm just going to continue after just to journal every day.
I love that. That's how I started as well. I was going through depression and I was gifted a journal with prompts to learn about gratitude. And it's something that I have kept. It really works. Yeah.
So what would you say to someone who struggles, right now and with self-love, self-esteem? How would they start that journey? What would be the first thing you would
The
tell them?
journey
Of getting to, because they're struggling with self-love, of self-esteem, and they come to see you and they tell you, no, I don't know how to get out of this. I don't know. I don't love myself, or I don't think I can bring anything to anybody. How will you help them with that? What would be the first thing you would say? Because I think we talk about unconditional love.
Yeah, I think I would ask them what is their practice of connecting with themselves. So I would ask them if they journal, if they meditate, if they have a movement practice, to start to assess whether they have tools already. And if they do not have these tools, I would ask them what would be a nice way, because of course, I can suggest tools, but what would be a nice way for them to start spending time on their own, away from distractions. And distractions, that can be work, that can be relationships, that can be, of course, alcohol, gaming, spending. It can be all sorts of things. But I like to bring people into this space where they really enjoy life. So we're going to look at what is one thing that they could do to really connect with themselves. So that could be going on a walk. That could be listen to music. That can be dancing. That could be having a shower, a bath. So I think I would start with something like that. I would also introduce them to meditation, because it's a part of what I use. I use mindfulness and I teach people to meditate. And I also bring them into journaling to self-reflect and become more aware of themselves.
It's important. I talked to another guest, I think last month, I asked her the same question. She said, I would tell them just go outside in nature. First thing we will do, go outside in nature.
Yeah.
Yourself. Yeah. It's a good, it's a good answer. So before we go, do you have like a success story that you like to share from one of your clients, maybe, that you have and you are like, I'm so happy, this is how he or she is doing well now.
Yeah. I can think about someone who was really struggling with anxiety, being on the go all the time and not having, experiencing a lot of stress due to the amount of work, having a big family, having 4 children, and traveling a lot with work. And it was fantastic to work together and to bring that person into presence, mindful presence, to teach them to meditate, to be more self-reliant instead of burying themselves into work, into all sorts of distractions, and cultivate this relationship with self, and now being less anxious, being able to pick up, when anxiety arises, and to utilize better tools in order to navigate when anxiety arises. So that's really beautiful to see people are going through those stages of self-realization. And also that person was not, at the time believing into something greater than themselves, the universe, but that's something that came with that practice of being present, attuning to the emotions, realizing that there is something bigger than us that is at play. It's not just us, the individuals are controlling everything. And so when you understand that, you can also surrender to not wanting to be in control for everything all the time, and you can relax into existence. So that happened for that person. Yeah.
Important to slow down and, like you said, to surrender. I just read that book, the surrender experience.
Yeah,
Experiment.
Yeah.
Yes.
I read it this year as well.
That was part of my homework also. Oh, such a good book.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was an inspiring book for me this year as well. Yeah.
You ready to? All right. Yeah, another question I wanted to ask you. Do you do virtual?
Yeah, I do
you have
in
a virtual
person.
program also?
In person is my favorite, and what I do is highly customizable. So I can take people for an hour. That can be in person, that can be online. But sometimes, depending on what we work on, we can extend the time together. Like, the Date the Goddess is a 6 to 8 hour experiential format. But I'm going to put a lot of other things online in the next few weeks. So people are going to have
And if people want to contact you, how would they go by that? Are you just on social media?
Yeah.
So
you can find me at Conscious Love with Emilie on Instagram. And I think you're going to mention my email address as well.
Yeah, I will put everything in the show notes.
Okay. Yeah.
People will just want to contact you.
Yeah.
Do you want to add something maybe I didn't ask? Maybe something else? Do you want to add something else that maybe I didn't ask a question? No. I was able to get everything from you.
Okay. No, there's nothing that's coming up now.
We mentioned almost everything today?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
We touch upon everything? Okay, cool, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, but then thank you very much, Emilie. It was really interesting.
Thank you so
A bit
much,
different
Veronique.
from what I do usually, but I loved it. I love to learn other stuff.
Thank you so much. I liked learning from you as well.
Thank you, and thank you for helping, all these people.
Of course, yeah.
Stress is
it's a pleasure. Yeah.
We need more people, to help other people in this world, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Emilie, and good luck for everything else.
Thank you, Veronique. Do the same. Be well.
Thank you.